Today on the list, the latest alternative to leather, trailblazing women at work, and ways to survive a breakup.
If you're on the side of having been dumped, you're looking for an explanation, you want things to work.
Plus,
it took me a long time to come down here.
How a rap legend jump-started a designer's career.
You see Tupac, and he is wearing the first hat that I ever drew.
But up first, the Native American chef disrupting the food scene. It's your life, it's your list, and it starts right now.
Hey everyone, I'm Jimmy Rhodes.
And I'm Christina Guerrero. November is National Native American Heritage Month, when we recognize and celebrate Indigenous people, culture, and food.
But one man does that every day at his James Beard award-winning restaurant.
That's right, how he's using techniques and recipes from the past to create Indigenous food and make it available for others. That's our featured story at the top of the list.
Meet Chef Sean Sherman. He's on a mission to revitalize Indigenous food.
I knew that my Lakota ancestors had such a deep knowledge and education around the world around them, all the plants, how to identify, how to harvest, which parts to use, what do you craft with, what do you eat with, what's medicine, and just that really important knowledge that's just was stripped from us,
Because even though Sean has been a chef for over 30 years, when it came to the cuisine of his own heritage, he had to learn what had been lost with colonization.
I spent quite a few years just researching that, and then until I got to a point where I started to do pop-up dinners with the focus of showcasing Indigenous foods and flavors and communities and cultures.
That led to the creation of his catering and food education company, the Sioux Chef. Then his own modern Indigenous restaurant in Minneapolis, Owamni, which are all a part of re-identifying North American cuisine.
Part of the philosophy that we set very, very early on was just removing colonial ingredients to showcase the bounty of Indigenous food and flavor around us.
We may picture hot dogs, hamburgers, and pizza, but that's not the original American diet, and you won't find anything like that in Sean's kitchen. Instead, you'll find a modern twist on native, local ingredients like a bison stew or a seasonal veggie dish.
We removed things like dairy, wheat flour, cane sugar, beef, pork, or chicken, and just really focused on all sorts of wild game and birds, and fish, and seafood.
This decolonized menu is quickly becoming a fan favorite, while also working as a way to celebrate Indigenous culture.
For me, at least, Owamni is really just a proof of concept that a restaurant like that can exist in today's world, and that it can be done well, and it could be even popular. So, like winning the James Beard Award for Best New Restaurant in the entire U.S. is huge because, people of color rarely are able to hit those kinds of situations, especially on a national scale.
Sean realized one way to turn his concept into the new normal was with education, so he helped found the nonprofit Natives.
The acronym North American Traditional Indigenous Food Systems, it's built on two prongs, one creating access to Indigenous foods and one creating access to Indigenous education.
They're working on creating Indigenous food labs in cities across America, teaching people what was grown in those areas.
So we're already in talks with Anchorage, Alaska, Bozeman, Montana, Rapid City, South Dakota, and beyond.
But there is work that we can all be doing now in order to decolonize our own plate.
I think people should just really think about the land that they're standing on, and just to think about how positive preserving and understanding their knowledge base could be, because it just gives us a path to really truly understand the land that we're on, how to utilize the plants and how to connect with the nature better to get people to realize why we should be protecting natural areas and resources instead of constantly destroying it.
Preserving Indigenous culture through food is at the top of the list.
From ball boy to business leader, it's quite a story. A 12-year-old who loves sports and streetwear became the CEO of a clothing brand that supplies clients including the NBA and Apple. Jason Franklin shares how hard work and perseverance can take big dreams to the next level.
At the age of 12, this Chicago-based kid loved his hometown pro basketball team.
In the 80s, early 90s, it's Chicago, everything's Bulls, everything's Michael Jordan. I just wanted a cool Bulls hat.
Jason Franklin, co-founder of the clothing brand Sportique, shares how his unique path into the fashion industry shaped his success as an entrepreneur. It all started in his teens by designing big-time ball caps worn by sports and hip-hop stars alike.
I literally was just taking pieces of paper and just drawing hats and with my favorite teams on them.
A neighbor in the hat biz took interest, and within a year, he was pitching and selling his designs to corporate bigwigs.
With Foot Lockers, with Champs, with some of the major retailers, and sitting down with them and saying, not only did I draw this hat, but this is what the kids want to wear, and you need to buy this for your stores.
And you had the authenticity of being from the group that they really wanted.
Exactly.
Shortly after, his work was validated on the silver screen.
The movie's called Poetic Justice, with Tupac Shakur in it, Janet Jackson, an iconic movie. And literally after the opening credits, you see Tupac, and he is wearing the first hat that I ever drew.
It took me a long time to come down here.
Then 50 Cent sported one of his caps in his Wanksta video.
I got a lot of living to do before I die, and I ain't got time to waste.
My dream of wanting to make cool sports hats was actually a reality now.
This recognition helped him score his next big gig at the age of 15 as a ball boy for the Chicago Bulls.
1,000 kids applied, 5 kids got interviewed, 2 kids got a job, and I happened to get a job.
One of those 2 kids?
I was one of those 2 kids. And they took a very strong liking to me. They treated me like a little brother.
Scottie Pippen even chaperoned his first date. But the real prize was learning how to win in life and business.
The big thing about being around the Bulls at that age was watching their work ethic. It was not only Scottie, it was Michael, it was Dennis. Those guys wanted to win.
You clearly had talent. You could do the drawing. But talent without the work ethic doesn't get you anywhere.
Correct.
Jason's dream has come full circle. His clothing brand Sportique is now one of the NBA's official suppliers. Everything from t-shirts to hoodies.
Getting a chance to see the Sportique product sell out at NBA All-Star Game in Chicago was probably one of the more special moments that I've ever experienced.
His advice to budding entrepreneurs is to learn the business, sure, but being in the real world is just as important.
Getting some of that street education in the field that you're most passionate about at an early age will give you that leg up to potentially achieve some of the dreams that you set out.
Winning in the game of life, from a ball boy to a business leader.
Yes, the holiday season is about togetherness, but it's also a time of year a lot of couples break up. So if you are freshly single this year, take heart. Teresa Strasser is looking at how to rebound and come back stronger after a breakup.
No perfect relationship ends in a breakup, but that still doesn't make them any easier.
I think it's important to note there was a reason for this breakup. Staying in an unhappy relationship actually has really serious impacts.
Carmelia Ray, celebrity matchmaker and relationship expert, shares her tips on how to bounce back after going your separate ways. For starters, go on a social media detox.
If you're on a diet, are you gonna put chips and pop in your fridge?
She recommends staying away from social media so that you won't be tempted to scroll on your ex's feed.
It's a reminder of a relationship that you're still grieving. The other thing is a lot of people envy other people that are in happy relationships. So rather than it being a positive thing, they tend to sulk, oh, I could have had that marriage, and oh, look how happy they are.
Try muting any friends on your apps that might remind you of what your ex is up to.
Perhaps you're just taking a trial break. So you don't want to do anything that is going to permanently damage your relationship. And at the same time, you have mutual friends. So you want to be mindful of your feed.
Next, practice the no contact rule.
The no contact rule basically states, do not contact your partner. Give it at least 30 days. I would say 60.
Carmelia says this one can be the hardest rule for people to follow.
Particularly if you're on the side of having been dumped. You're looking for an explanation. You want things to work. You may want to blow up their phone.
The time away allows you to get perspective on your life without your ex and how to move forward alone.
Because if you have repeatedly tried to get back together and you finally decided that this is it, the best for both of you is to have no contact, no response, and no acknowledgement.
Finally, get some me time.
A lot of people find it difficult to have me time because they have to consider their partner.
She says it's okay to be selfish with your time for a while.
That love, that energy, that attention back into yourself. Because if you're feeling rejected, the best way to clear that up is to spend that time on your own, reflecting, healing, and learning from what just happened.
Rebuilding and bouncing back after a breakup.
Still to come on the list, discover the future of fashion.
Food crop waste from things like bananas, pineapples, can be collected and spun into natural fiber.
Plus, why this World War II veteran was a pioneer.
The instructor says, Roberta, if you don't jump, I'm going to give you a kick.
And look back at the big screen debut of Whitney Houston.
This film was a massive hit at the box office.
All that and more ahead on the list.
Hey guys, welcome back. Research says fashion accounts for up to 10% of global carbon dioxide output, and only a fraction of the clothing manufactured gets recycled.
So while we might look good, our landfills, well, not so much. But there is hope. Jackie Denker's breaking down 3 surprising ways companies are creating sustainable materials that designers love.
The future of sustainable fashion is here.
It's not something only we're going to look good in, but something we can really say, wow, I'm making a difference with what I'm wearing and how it was made.
To learn about 3 companies creating sustainable materials for the fashion industry, we turned to Associate Professor of Fashion Marketing and Management at Lynn University, Andrew Bernstein. First up, let's take a look at Inversa, a company that goes in the opposite direction of endangered species to create leather.
So we don't have to go to the crocodile bag, the lizard bag.
And instead, they use invasive species, meaning they are overpopulated and harm their environment, like lionfish that
so many countries want to get rid of. So it's a great way
to help get rid of some of these fish and help revive ecosystems. Inversa is
turning these hides into really high-end leathers.
Inversas create the leather using a tanning process, and then off to designers to create unique, sustainable fashion.
They can transform those beautiful, durable leather hides now into shoes, accessories, and other products.
Next up, Circular Systems, who's discovered that
food crop waste from things like bananas, pineapples, can be collected and spun into natural fiber, which then can be woven into clothing.
And they have come up with 3 technologies that help do this.
The AgriLoop biorefinery is an exclusive system that turns crop waste into textiles. Then you have the TexLoop that turns the textile scraps and used clothing into new fibers. And they have exclusive technology called Orbital, which spins food crop waste and textile waste fibers together.
The result is a new yarn product that designers use to create clothes while helping save our planet.
So it's just really exciting what all these companies are doing.
Finally, let's talk Deserto.
Guess what? They have an alternative to leather.
And it's made from cactus.
And they are turning that into a luxurious biomaterial imitation leather.
They cut the leaves, clean and mash them, dry, mix with non-toxic chemicals, and shape into textiles that can be used for
bags, leather, and other things.
They even made a cactus material called Desert Tex for car interior. Even Mercedes-Benz is using it
for their upcoming leathers in their new EV material.
Helping our planet look beautiful while we look styling in our sustainable fashion.
Get this, according to recent research, over 6% of women are now working full-time in traditionally male-dominated professions. Now, while the number has increased from previous years, there is still a lot of work to be done. So Teresa Strasser has a few stories of women breaking the mold. Teresa.
Thank you. These women are breaking barriers by doing what they love. Coming in at number 1, Tina JIMENEZ.
Things are changing so fast. Why can't the work environment, what society sees as women, change as well? We're not just the ones stuck at home.
In 2021, Tina left her office job to enroll in a trade school where she became an HVAC installer.
It's all about just putting that motivation, that work ethic.
Tina landed a job while she was still in school.
I got hired with Ghetto in March, and I graduated in May. So I already had a job lined up about 2 months before I graduated.
Tina says the most important thing is to always try, even if you're scared.
Can I even do this? Well, you won't know unless you try.
At number 2, Sharita Brown.
I'll be the first female in my family to be driving a semi-truck with my CDL Class A license.
She'll be graduating from Fleet Force truck driving school soon and will work in the same industry as her family.
My grandfather and my uncles, they all drive trucks.
She learned from a female instructor.
There weren't many out there at the time, and when I got out there, I would always be a surprise to different people when I pull up to a shipper.
And she encourages other women to believe in themselves.
You don't have to stick to what the world says a woman needs to be. Women can be truckers.
Last on our list of women breaking the mold, Roberta Below.
Guy, you were literally the only woman in this class.
Yes. Roberta joined the Navy, and in 1949 she became a parachute rigger, a decision that was inspired by her former teacher.
I had a school teacher who enlisted in the Navy during World War II, and I loved that lady, so I wanted to be like her.
During her final exam, she had to take a literal leap of faith.
All the guys were looking at me, wondering if I'd jump, and the instructor says, Roberta, if you don't jump, I'm going to give you a kick.
The moment was documented by the Navy and was used to encourage more women to join.
It was in all the movie theaters. This is a picture that was out front of the theater.
And those were three amazing women breaking the mold, breaking barriers, and breaking through. Lots more to come on the list. Stay right here.
Welcome back, and on today's watch list, we're stepping back in time. 1992 was a great year to be a movie fan. From classic comedies to thrillers, 92 had it all. So we're looking at some of the best movies that turned the big 3-0 this year.
All movies are made to be entertainment, but some just have that special movie magic.
It's hard to believe that some of these movies are turning 30, but from the moment that they hit the box office, it was obvious that they would be an instant classic.
Celebrating some of her favorite movies from 1992 is the senior entertainment writer from Variety magazine, Angelique Jackson. Starting with Sister Act.
What is your name? Dolores Van Cartier.
Whoopi Goldberg plays the lounge singer Dolores Van Cartier, who is forced into the witness protection program at a convent, where she becomes the new choir director for the Sisterhood of Nuns.
Grossing over $231 million worldwide, this box office hit spawned a franchise consisting of a sequel and a musical adaptation.
This film is also critically acclaimed, appearing on AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs list.
Give us this day our daily bread, and to the republic for which it stands.
Sister Act is available on Disney Plus and video on demand. Up next, The Bodyguard.
Well, I don't want to get confused about what I'm doing here.
I'm not confused.
This movie has become a romantic classic, a dramatic classic, a musical classic, truly a classic in all respects.
This movie stars Whitney Houston in her film debut opposite the Academy Award-winning actor Kevin Costner.
We'll always love you. The movie earned more than $411 million at the box office, becoming the second highest grossing movie of 1992.
You can catch The Bodyguard streaming on HBO Max and on video on demand. And finally, A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth!
The truth that I cannot handle is that A Few Good Men is 30 years old and was a massive hit at the box office, earning more than $243 million.
We follow orders or people die.
This movie stars an ensemble cast led by Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, and Demi Moore.
No deal, we're going to court.
At the time, Demi Moore was one of the highest paid actresses in Hollywood, but she took a small pay cut to $2 million for this part.
I need an answer to my question, sir.
Few Good Men is available on video on demand. Great movies celebrating their 30th anniversary this year on the watch list. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is time for What's Last on our list. Now, last time I went on a date, the iPhone still wasn't invented, and I kept up with my friends on MySpace. Yeah, all this to say, it's been a minute, but from what I remember, dating wasn't cheap, right? Drinks, dinner, coffee, that adds up.
So with inflation soaring, just imagine what it must be like for singles now. Look at this headline from Essence.com. Millennials are literally going into debt from dating. And the dating app Hinge reported that nearly 41% of survey respondents said they were more concerned with the cost of dates now versus a year ago, with Gen Z the most worried.
Yeah, there is one segment of the population that's not affected. Rich people, that's according to Newsweek. Well, whoop-de-doo for you. But for the rest of us, a survey from 2018 found that 77% of people think credit card debt is unattractive.
Okay, wait. If debt is unattractive and dating puts you in debt, you're doomed.
Yeah.
And by the way, super unfair to guys, can I say, because earlier this year, a study published in Psychological Reports found that men almost always paid the whole bill on first dates and paid more than women on subsequent dates, and you're playing a small violin.
That's right. Nobody's keeping score, right?
Actually, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion are all keeping score, and apparently so are women.
Oh, Jimmy. So many great ways, though, to connect are free, all right? Hikes, walks in the park, a homemade cup of coffee.
Technically, a homemade cup of coffee will cost you about 30 cents.
Debt might not be attractive, but I'm sure counting pennies is also not attractive.
Well, that would explain a lot.
Certainly does, right? And that's what's last on our list. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Tomorrow on the list, simple ways to prevent jet lag.
It's going to be a good idea to consider changing your schedule.
And the one ingredient that makes cornbread pop. Plus,
I'ma hit you back in a minute.
How Lizzo revolutionized the music industry.
She's just made an entire discography about empowerment.
All that's tomorrow, right here on the list.